All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Friday, January 28th, 2022, and yeah, it's a little late, but we finally have our conference championship NFL pick'em to do. So we have our AFC championship and NFC championship games to go over here. So sorry about the delay here. I've been kind of dealing with, I got COVID, and then, it was kind of weird for a couple days. I really couldn't talk very well, and yeah, so we're doing this now. We made our picks. They're not super controversial. I would say they're pretty standard picks. We had let's go look at the seeding remaining for the playoffs here. Obviously, we had a pretty crazy set of games happen this weekend with the 49ers upsetting the Green Bay Packers, which is one of those things that seems to happen whenever these two teams run into the playoffs. It seems the 49ers have the Packers number, especially Aaron Rodgers' number, come the playoffs. The Rams were able to win their game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was a pretty exciting game. It was 27-3 late into the third quarter. And then, of course, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers come running back into the game, tie it up, and then the Rams are able to get the ball and then go score late and win the game on that. So what a good game in that one. For the Bengals, they were able to get the upset over the Titans. Just a crazy upset. They were able to go down into Tennessee. Despite Joe Burrow getting sacked like 9 times, they were able to pull out and remain strong and win the game. They were able to contain Derrick Henry to some extent. They were able to contain the passing game. That was really, it seemed like, the big difference is they just were able to kind of shut down the pass game and focus on keeping Derrick Henry in check as best they could. And for the Chiefs, they played a really good game too against the Bills. Another classic overtime finish between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Both teams played extremely well, but the Chiefs were able to get the ball first in overtime, and sometimes that's all you need. You just got to get that luck in overtime. I know it's not very fair, but that's literally how the NFL has always been played. It's just overtime is kind of just the luck of the draw, really. So that means that sets up the Rams hosting the 49ers and the Chiefs hosting the Bengals. Approximately 0 people had this as the AFC championship. There might have been some 49ers fans that had this as like a potential NFC championship, and maybe even some Rams fans thought, hey, this could be the team we have to run into at some point. So that one probably a little less shocking in the NFC, but I don't know. I bet you literally 0 people had this. Even the most profound Bengals fan at the start of the year would have been like, yeah, you want to know what the AFC championship game is going to be this year? It's going to be the Chiefs and the Bengals. They'd have looked at you. I'd have been like, I don't, nuh-uh. And then that one guy, because literally somebody would be posting like they made this bet at the beginning of the year, right? They'd be like, yeah, I had the Bengals in the AFC Championship. What of it? And I'd be like, well, good job. You had like the weirdest foresight on planet Earth. So yeah, so these are the matchups. Obviously, the games will be played at Sunday. So let's go ahead and get into the games. At 3 o'clock Eastern Standard, it'll be the Kansas City Chiefs hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites with an over/under of 54.5. So the lines, I include those just because people like to have them on there as per usual. I don't let them factor into my decision when I pick. I literally pick scores before I look at the lines. So those are there for if you want them. They're from FanDuel, yada yada yada. If you gamble, be sure to use other sources and all that because that's not really my forte. Anyway, looking at this game, it's a rematch of a game that the Bengals were able to win kind of in the last minutes of kind of with very tricky clockwork against the Chiefs here. So we do know that the Bengals can compete against the Chiefs, which is why I have it as a closer score. But here in the playoffs, it's always a different animal. Teams play a little differently. The Chiefs have been here several times. This is the first run for the Bengals. So that's my major number one question is, what are the Bengals going to look like in this level of competition, in this level of game, in this big of a moment? They could be perfectly fine. I haven't seen any evidence that this team chokes at all. In fact, I actually think the Bengals become better and better as pressure increases. For whatever reason, Joe Burrow plays better with pressure, and I think Zach Taylor, ironically, coaches better when there's a lot of pressure on him. He's very rarely made mistakes in big late situations, and when he does, it's like, well, he's improved so much, like so dramatically. Zach Taylor has. It's like, wow, this is a whole different guy now at head coach. I could see why they hired him and were so patient with him. because it was obviously, good for that, and it's a good situation. But until you see it in like the actual championships and like the biggest moments, which is the AFC Championship or the Super Bowl, you don't really know what you're going to get, because we've seen great teams choke in these kind of situations despite not showing any signs of it prior to being like a choking team. So we'll see what the Bengals can look like. We know what the Chiefs are probably going to look like. They're going to have a competent offense. They're going to hold the ball as long as they can. They're going to try to limit the other team from getting the ball now. That seems to be their identity, and I'm wondering how the Bengals will respond to the way that the Chiefs kind of play in the playoffs, which is ball control and, long drives, ball control. You get the ball, but you're not going to have a lot of time with it. Can the Bengals actually score with that kind of pressure on them? And also, can the Chiefs are the Chiefs going to be able to put the kind of pressure that they need to on the Bengals, which probably, I can imagine Chris Jones having one hell of a game. If the Titans were able to get 9 sacks on Burrow, I really wonder what the Chiefs are going to be able to do, because they've got a pretty good defensive front. So there's some major questions about the Bengals, but there's also questions about the Chiefs. I wonder how the Chiefs are going to respond to the Bengals passing game, the running game. I don't know, but when I really think about it, I'm like, the experience of the Chiefs here is going to pay off, and the inexperience of the Bengals and not knowing what they're going to look like with these certain parameters that the Chiefs are going to create. Not a lot of time, a lot of scoring. Every drive is going to be very important for the Bengals. So that kind of added pressure, you always have to wonder how a team responds to that. When a team like the Chiefs can kind of crank it up a little bit and make a team have to play perfect, can the Bengals do that consistently enough to win the game? I don't personally think so. I think this is where the Bengals' kind of miracle season run ends. But it's not like they're going to play bad. I think they can keep up, but they're going to I think it's going to be like they run out of time. And like the Chiefs are, there's a little bit of luck involved with that as well. Bengals are a very lucky team as well. So it feels like a last team, whoever gets it last. And the experience of the Chiefs is going to be huge in this game. If this was next year and we already kind of knew what the Bengals were, it'd be a little different. But ultimately, I think the bad O-line of the Bengals, the inexperience, not knowing what we're going to get, we don't know if they're going to choke. There's a lot more questions you have about the Bengals than you do about the Chiefs. So that's why I'm kind of leaning on going with the Chiefs in this one. I don't like it. I wish the Bengals could win. That'd be so much better. All right. But, yeah. Here we go. The goddamn 49ers. Jimmy motherfucking G. 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. It'll be the San Francisco 49ers heading over to Los Angeles to play the Rams. Hilariously, this is like back to like the 49ers. The Rams are hosting the NFC Championship and then technically hosting the Super Bowl. So if they're able to actually win this game, that would be crazy, because they would be hosting the NFC Championship, then the Super Bowl, which is I find that to be kind of cool. The Rams are favored by 3.5 with an over/under of 45.5 points. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It would be hard to pick the Rams, man. It's one of those things where it's like, oh boy, the 49ers are like the worst team for like 3 teams to run into. And it seems like whenever the 49ers make the playoffs, they run into those teams. It's like, how do they get so goddamn lucky? Every time it's like, oh yeah, we're good against the Packers and the Rams. Here, you guys get to play the Packers and the Rams. Oh, okay. What do we just win? Yeah, I guess that's just what you guys get to do this week. McVay's like 3-7 against Kyle Shanahan. The Rams, I think they've lost like 4 straight to these guys. It doesn't matter that Jared Goff isn't the quarterback. It's literally like a fundamental issue. Because it doesn't matter that Stafford's the quarterback for the Rams now, because the same struggles that have been always present for the Rams versus the 49ers are still there. It just seems like whatever Kyle Shanahan like schemes up, whatever he draws up, whatever he does, McVay can't counter it. And whenever McVay draws up to try to like do something, Kyle Shanahan's like, oh, I know what you're about to do, you bitch. I made you. And it's just like one of those things where it's like he can't beat his mentor. It's just one of those, he cannot get past this guy. And it's very obvious. To me, it's very obvious. It's just whatever McVay thinks of doing, Shanahan's already like thought of it and has a counter for it. It's like the weirdest and like the Rams defense just becomes like garbage against the 49ers. It's one of the crazy Debo Sam, like they've become supercharged. And I really don't understand that. That's the thing, right? Like, that's the major problem for the Rams is whatever McVay schemes up and draws up. I think because of how similar and how, like, the way that McVay and Shanahan came up together, I think whenever McVay tries to do, Shanahan counters it, but like Shanahan has slightly more experience, so whenever he tries to do something, McVay is like slightly behind on trying to figure it out and counter it. So like there's always going to be like this slight edge of Shanahan above McVay whenever they go head to head, just because of like the way they came up together. Because otherwise, there's no reason the 49ers should beat the Rams, but they always do. It's one of the weirdest continuation stories in football. It's like, Jesus, dude. But like, hey, maybe this is the time. But I think it's often like when you play a team for a third time, like it doesn't usually end well for the team that's been beaten twice. I think, I don't know. Because I don't know. The 49ers not even just win. They kind of like dominate the Rams when they play them. Can the Rams win? Oh, 100%. They just have to like get over whatever the hell happens when McVay plays Shanahan and get a rare W against him. In my head, I just can't pick the Rams in this game. It's just like, man, I watched them play twice this regular season, and the Rams just did not look good at all against the 49ers. Like, even with stat, it's just like they're just a better, like the 49ers play better football when they play the Rams because of the scheming thing that I talked about a little bit ago. So it's really hard to pick against the team that the Rams, unless they do something completely brand new against the 49ers on Sunday, then they're going to lose. It's like, unless they literally bust out a whole new ass game plan on both sides of the ball, the 49ers will have an answer with running the ball, throwing the ball, playing defense. They have like the counter for it. But the Rams are so good, they're eventually going to break through and score a couple times. But it's like, is it going to be enough? Because the 49ers, with the coaching and the understanding of the Rams fundamentally, like to the core, they just kind of can be like, well, we'll just score one more than them. Like, and they can do that. It's like they do it with like such relative ease. It's like, oh man, the Rams, I don't know if they can beat this team. And I think that's the same reason that the 49ers have been kind of dominating on the floor as well. It's just like Shanahan has so much like he just seems to scheme and like coach over like guys like McVay and Matt LaFleur, to the point where it just seems like they have no ability to like answer to Shanahan. It's like, wow. And that's why I'm thinking the 49ers. Deebo Samuel wins MVP. I think Mahomes wins MVP in the other game. There you go. So let's look at our overall record. Wild card weekend was really good. 5-1. Last weekend 1-3. 6-4 overall. Not terrible. Not great. 179, 102 and 1 for the regular season overall. The regular season was 173, 98 and 1. But with the playoffs added in, there's that. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the video this week. Hope you. Let me know what you did for your playoff picks down below, I guess. Let me know what you did for this week for the AFC and NFC Championship. Well, what's your Super Bowl matchup, I guess? Are you excited? You got the Bengals 49ers. Are you going with the crazy upset game? Or are you going with the favorites and the Chiefs Rams? Whatever the matchup is, it seems like we're about to get a really good Super Bowl. Unless it's the goddamn Chiefs and 49ers, which is what I have, of course. Like the one Super Bowl where it's like, again. But it seems like that's the one I'm thinking is going to happen, unfortunately. Let me know what you think down below. I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're doing videos, pretty consistently. We're going to ramp the production up pretty soon here. Sorry, I got distracted. I don't know what the hell that was, but I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, that's a very short picks video for me, but there's only 2 games and it went 13 minutes, so I'm able to talk for a while. All right, thank you guys so much for a fun season. I will be back with my Super Bowl picks on Tuesday or something, or the week before the Super Bowl, whenever. All right, thanks a lot. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a good rest of your day, night, morning, whenever you listen to this. Go Lions, go Tigers, and of course, go Patriots. I will see you when I see you. Peace out.